Hi all, it's Kara from the Transformation Mom for ABCDE, and I'm hoping my last video was a little dark, so I'm going to try to use this light and see if that helps. Just trying to experiment to make things better for you guys. So I decided that I've been showing you some simple layouts, but today I wanted to actually do one of my December dailies with you. So I am going to do December 1st layout with you. So this is going to be my base page, and I'm really excited because we went to the Christmas tree farm. And I used my HP Sprocket camera and I printed out some of the photos of my kids and I and my husband at the Christmas tree farm picking out our tree. So that's the pictures that I'm going to use. I have 8 pictures for today that I want to use. I know that's kind of a lot, but so this is my base page, like I said. So one of the first things that I decided that I was going to do is that I really like my coffee dyed paper, but it's really too thin for what I want to do. I want to make some tags. So this is actually just an old cereal box, and I'm going to use my Scott's tacky glue because I got more. Like I said, this Tombow mono liquid that a lot of people swear about, I don't like it, but that's just my personal preference, and I don't know what it is I don't like about it, but I just really don't like it. So I am going to apply a generous amount of this over here. And I'm actually going to grab my other, this is my EK Success that I usually use to cut on, but I also use to glue on because I don't like to make my work surface sticky, so I often will pull this on over to do it. So I'm going to apply a nice generous amount of glue to this. Use my hand towel over here. I am going to pick a corner and place this down. I'm going to get my brayer, and if it has a little texture to it, so be it. I am not afraid of texture. I'm not even afraid of a little bit of glue on the paper. I just don't want a ton of glue on my ruler, so as you can see, I'm going to towel it off a little bit, because I'll end up with glue everywhere if I do that. Not that again, like, I don't care that it's on the paper, it's just more I will set the brayer down somewhere and it will get glue everywhere. So I'm just going to pull this over to the side for a second, and I'm going to use my handy towel. I'm just going to clean that up a little bit, and then I'm going to bring this back, and I'm just going to simply wipe off some of the glue on the edges of this too, just so that when I flip it over it's not as gluey. Okay, so I'm going to remember that the paper needs to go down in this corner. So we're just going to, can you see what I'm doing? Am I in frame or not here? Sorry about that if I wasn't. I'm really trying to use this new camera setup, and sometimes I kind of forget what's in frame and what isn't. But I will get used to it eventually. I know I will. Okay. You probably don't. I like to rub the glue because sometimes if I don't rub the glue like this, I'll see glue lines. And again, it's one of my, I want to say, pet peeves. I don't like seeing glue lines, and this top needs a little bit more glue. Now this is a very quick drying adhesive. Maybe that's also why I like it. So you don't have a lot of time to play with it. It's kind of stick down and go. So I liked the idea of tags, but I didn't want to use any of the supplies I had. I really wanted to try to use some of this really cool coffee dyed paper I had. So that was kind of why I was like, oh, I can beef them up a little bit with you know, with the cereal box. So that's that part. We're going to let this sit aside for a few minutes. I mean, it looks kind of gorgeous, doesn't it? We'll let that sit aside to dry. And we'll work on the next part, because then we'll come back to that. So, one of the things that I decided to do was I got a piece of the scrap that we had, and I just made a little pocket out of it. And I was trying to debate whether I wanted to tear this front or cut it. I just added some tissue paper to it. Again, you've seen me Mosh Posh tissue paper to pieces of stuff a million times, so I didn't want to do that on camera. So I'm just going to rip that off. I think it's going to look just about the same. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to use my glue. Actually, you know what? I think instead, because this is a pocket and I like pockets to last, is that I am going to put my score tape on 3 sides of this. I'm going to put my sucrane on 3 sides of this. We're going to burnish it. Of course, I can't find, oh, there it is. Oh, I had it right on the table. We're going to pick off the edges. I think I've said this before. My garbage tin is a old Tupperware that I can't find the lid to anymore. It works perfectly. It can sit anywhere, it can move around. So I know that's just the way I like it. So we're just gonna simply put that on there and make sure it's not hanging off the top or the bottom. I'm trying to be careful because this tissue paper isn't completely dry yet, because I literally just did it before we got on the camera. So I just want to make sure that it's down there, but I don't want to ruin my tissue paper yet. Okay, so there is my pocket. Now, I've cut out a whole bunch of these from the paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my scissors, and I am just going to cut around this. And I think I'm actually going to use these images as part of my numbers. So there is kind of that part. Now, I need to go grab my machine here. So to move this all out of my way, I'm going to grab my Cuddle Bug. And I think I'm going to use, I really like my Dynamics dies, and I know they're old and they've been well loved, but I love them. So I'm going to get a piece of the cardstock I had left over from making everything else. I have my little Dynamics one here, and that is what I'm going to use for my number. So I'm going to put it in there, run it through my Cuddle Bug. Hand was stuck in there. Pull it off there, and there is my number 1. So I think what I'm going to do is kind of put that there with the number 1, kind of very organically. It doesn't have to be perfect, again, I want this to look nice and fun and festive, and so I didn't really plan the page that much here. So you're kind of getting to plan with me here, so that's kind of fun, isn't it? This might turn out pretty, it might not, I don't know, we'll see. So we're gonna go just like that. me get my brayer. Just gonna brayer that down a little bit. And we're gonna put some glue on the back of this. You put my cap on my glue. So the nice thing about this particular brand of glue, I want to say it's $5.29 off of Amazon, but it is a add-on item, so it's not very expensive. And you can, you know, as long as you're making an order of Amazon, you can get it for cheap. So there is my number, and I really like how that turned out. So I'm going to set my book aside for a second. Now I had pulled these two tags from my stash. So what I thought is I would just show you kind of one on camera, and then I would do the rest later. So I'm going to set this down here, and that has a little mark on it, so I don't want to get too close there. And I am just going to simply hold these two together and cut my around the tag. Then I am going to use my hole punch and line it up and punch my hole. So there is my tag. Okay, and you can see there's a little bit of the box speaks poking out of the bottom here. So I am just going to cut off the bottom a little bit. And I think I'm gonna get my quarter rounder. This is a crocodile quarter rounder. I'm going to use the 1/2 inch side. And I think I'm going to round these corners. Oop, that one didn't quite come all the way off because it's still a little wet and I'm trying to work with it. You know, nothing like saying, hey, let's try to get this to work right as you're still trying to dry. Okay. So there's kind of what it's going to look like. Now I'm going to get my distressed ink and vintage photo and my little Tim Holtz blending tool. And I'm just going to ink the edges of this. Because this has a because this is coffee dyed paper with the cereal board in the middle, I feel that finishing the edges with this really does help give it that finished look because of the cereal board. So there is that. Now, I'm just going to pick the first two photos right now while we're sitting here on camera. And supposedly this is sticky paper. Whether or not I can actually get it to unstick is going to be another question. Oh, there we go. So, I will put the one photo down. And the other one, even though it's a sideways photo, I'm going to put it on there as if it was a long ways photo. That way it just keeps my general pattern. I mean, I guess I could have made my tags fatter. Come on. There we go. Okay. So then I thought, just for something added and fun, that I would get just a small piece of this sparkly ribbon. I don't think I want to cut it there. I think I want to cut it so that it sticks out like that. And I am going to feed it through these holes. And I'm going to try to find my mini stapler. Let's see what color. Oh, it actually has silver staples in it today. See, sometimes I don't always get that lucky. And I'm going to manipulate it so both sides have the shiny red sticking up. And I'm going to get my mini stapler. And I am going to put a staple in there. And because I didn't have the staple board underneath it, of course I stapled my finger because I wasn't thinking about that. Yeah. And there we go. So I'm going to do that and make 4 more tags. 1 more this shape, and I'm going to do 2 that are this shape. And we'll have all these tags that will be able to stick out this way. And I might actually, I'm going to do 2 on each side, and then the red part will kind of stick out here at the end. So that is what I'm going to do for the rest of my December 1st December daily. I even might get a piece of plain paper and write a little bit of what I wanted and shove it in there so that like I can describe the day and stuff. So that was my December 1st December daily. I'm hoping to come back with you with another December daily here pretty quickly, and when I do, I'll show you the finished of this. I hope you enjoyed my December daily with me. I hope you guys have a great day. It's Kara from the Transformation Mom for ABCDE.